right, here we are, folks. We are back with another rousing. How you doing, Mr. Serritella?
We're all pumped up,
We're
Zen
all
Dog. It's
pumped. Yeah, that's right. Let me
the
go
most
to
beautiful
let me go.
time of
But
the year, right?
yeah, let me go to YouTube and get it started and make sure that the page is working properly. And there is there's the page, and then we put this on mute so we can properly hear you. And then I'm gonna put this on Facebook while I'm at it real quick.
Just as
Just
long as you don't put me on a 7-second delay.
too late. Well, actually, that might be a good thing, you know. Um, but I
No, we
am.
want the unfiltered version.
I get your point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I'm putting it, whoops, excuse me. I didn't mean to do that. I'm putting this out, and then I'm gonna tag actually your channel, your Facebook page, and what else here? Oh, okay.
Twitterverse,
Twitter. Yep, I'm putting that out. I already put it on Twitterverse once.
YouTube Nation.
Yep. And then we've got, okay, so now we've got people, I hope they're getting their notifications. And there's that. And then we're going to talk Raiders, so I'm going to say Raider Nation.
Oh, yeah, baby.
That's right. And then Oakland. And then also we're going to talk G-Men and Giants and Eagles.
Big Blue Wrecking Crew.
Big Blue Wrecking Crew.
I got my Eagles Super Bowl champion mug here just to piss people off.
Look out. Are you gonna go all Drew Pearson on us in a different way?
Listen, I went, I went to the celebration because I'm a man of the people and I'm all for the city of brotherly love.
I like that. How was that celebration? Tell us.
It was, and I mean, it made. You were in Philly for the draft.
Yes, sir.
It made the draft look minuscule.
What?
It made the draft look minuscule. How many people were in downtown Philly? And you got Jason Kelsey running down the streets, and the cops coming up for autographs, and he has to slow down, stop, and finish his beer so that he can sign the cop's autograph. I mean, this was like the party of the century.
I saw that on video. I was cracking up. That was so golden, That was something else.
It was awesome, dude. It was.
Oh, man.
So I'll give you a quick story here.
Yeah.
And those who know me, those who don't, into the can't stop, won't stop situation, lifestyle that we live.
Mm-hmm.
So, we came from the Jersey Shore. We stayed at my cousin's house about an hour away from Philly. But, all the trains were sold out. Everybody was panicked and worried how we're going to get into Philly. So we left like 4 a.m, found some train station on the outskirts of Philadelphia at like 5 a.m. And we stocked up, obviously Philly Dilly was the phrase of the day. And Bud Light was giving out the free beers. And
Philly Dilly?
So we crushed our first Bud Light at 5 a.m. And someone put it down on one of the train seats, and the MTA workers, the train station workers, said, "Dilly, dilly."
Dilly, 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 folks.
So they start taking pictures and putting it on social media. And then, whoever was in charge, the big boss of the trains came over and said, "Excuse me, sir, can you hand me that beer can, please?" He didn't, hey, we're having a celebration here. It's the city of brotherly love. Calm down, baby. But no, it was one for the ages. It was, and I listen, I grew up a Denver Broncos fan. I was a big John Elway guy. I'm from New Jersey. I root for Jersey football. Giants, Jets. I want them all to be competitive. Playoff football, there's nothing like it. I root for them. I want them both to do well. I've been to the Giants parade. I wasn't around in '69 to go to the Jets parade. And Giants fans are going to hate me, but hey, Philly parade, that was one for the century.
There you go. Hey, so on that note, considering what we're talking about, first of all, congratulations. Did you realize we're both not at the draft? That is a 14-year straight break for me from 2005 till now. I think you're longer than me, right?
17. First time in 17 years. It kills me. I'm getting all the NFL media notification emails about interview opportunities, and it's like, but listen, we have one rule here at the NFL Draft Bible Familia. It's family first.
Yep.
Family calls.
Yep.
Just like you, Zenny.
Yep, that's right. Family first.
With that being said, before we go any further,
yeah, look at this room behind you. Congratulations, Pops.
It's a change up. It is baseball season. We're throwing curveballs at you.
There you go.
I gotta say, before we go anywhere, one of my favorite moments of the day, play on words, was logging onto Twitter, and you hit the the search or you get the latest topics and Twitter memories.
Yeah.
And Zenny62 came up.
Woohoo! All right, it worked.
And that was and unprompted, right? What's the latest buzz today? Zenny62 celebrating 14-year anniversary on YouTube. One of the original syndicators.
Thank you.
And man, it was a blast. From the past, literally going through the slideshow that you created.
And you're in it. One of your pictures in there.
Yeah. And just seeing all Bert Sugar and Roy Firestone, and I go back, to Joe Bush, and the original NFL Draft pioneer.
Yep.
But then I look back at your timeline, and I like to think that we're kind of NFL Draft technology pioneers.
Yes, absolutely.
Did the first video broadcast. We did the first podcast.
Right.
They wanted to ban us from MTV. The NFL.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah. I mean, we
were doing videos and podcasts before anybody.
That's right. That's right.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
That's absolutely right. And it's like, I have to say, I think you were there from the start. I met you in 2006. Actually, and you had the offers, and we won't talk about all the other jazz except to say that I mean, I try to keep it together.
How far we've come,
and we've come, and I think everything turned out the way it should, and hey, but what I like most of all is the fact that we're friends, like my brother, and there have been a lot of great people that have come out of this process that I've gotten to know, you and your lovely wife among them. And that means a lot to me. So, yeah, it's, I hate, and I don't know what you think about this, I hate that the draft is moving around, I wish that it were back in New York. I really do.
Well, for the people that can remember the draft before it became prime time, right? I mean, that Madison Square Garden Theater was so intimate, and I don't think we'll ever be able to recreate that because it's grown so big. And whether you love it or hate it, and whether you love or hate Goodell, the one thing you got to tip your hat to is he took the draft, made it into a primetime event, a 3-day event. Listen, I wish we can sign a check and go back to the all-day Saturday and Sunday affair. I love that.
Well, I want to make it clear. Roger Goodell is the reason why I'm able to build my business. So I love Roger Goodell. He's been fantastic, giving us access.
The bottom line increase. And so, for as much as we love the old format, it's like you said, best for business, best for you and I, best for the league. And it's unbelievable because I really was anxious to see how Dallas did it. And
me too.
Being held in an actual stadium, and Jerry guaranteeing that it's going to be sold out, it would have been a spectacle.
Do you know how many signups they had?
Oh yeah, it was like through the roof, unbelievable.
400,000.
Unbelievable.
I mean, just a crazy number, and it is unbelievable. And not only that, though, I don't know. I want to get your opinion about this before we get in the nitty gritty, but. Why do I get the feeling that they're trying to kill the draftnik?
I think they're trying to limit the modern day draftniks because guys like you and I think we're grandfathered in. I talked to, some of the newer draftniks, some who respect that can't get in. But, if you remember, I mean, I remember NFL Draft Bible was one. I can count on one hand how many draft sites there were.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Now you do a Google search, there's what, millions?
Yes. So, yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely
it's unbelievable.
Crazy. And it's amazing. Yeah.
Think about all the sites we've seen come and go. It's like really incredible.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think you're absolutely right, and I think that what's happened is that the NFL, it seems like they're trying to consolidate their power to just a handful of media people. Like, you know.
Well, so this is what the best comparison I heard this year was with all these networks being involved. They're trying to make the draft like the presidential campaign.
Oh, is that right?
These outlets, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
But as you've seen, as years have progressed, I mean, at the Garden, man, the theater, you know, I can remember the guys coming through, like, he just got drafted. Now they're just coming through, working the room, and, like, we're pulling them for interviews.
Yeah. Yep.
Now we went from being on the ground, boots on the ground, to being in the back row, to being in the mezzanine, to being in the upper deck, to being in the nosebleeds, to being in a completely different building that's not even where the draft is being held.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was the case. You know, TV, right?
Like everybody, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
we remember we had that conversation last. Yeah, we had that conversation last year.
If you're not ABC, you know.
Yeah, you're right. We had that conversation last year. It's like, so where are we? I mean, it's almost like they're discouraging media from coming there, you know, and it's wild.
Hey, that first year they moved away, and I know we got to get off this topic. That first year they moved away from New York, they went to Chicago.
Yep.
And day 3, we showed up where they told us the media was going to be.
Oh, that was horrible.
There was no designated place. I said, hey, where's the media section? They pointed over there to the stage where they literally took some duct tape and made like an 8x4 and like 4 outlets, and it was like, that's the media section.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah. Do you know who made them? Do you know who asked them to do that? Me. Because I said, hey, where are we going to be? They said there. I said, well, can you mark it off? Because they had no place for us.
It was unbelievable. Because and ever since then, it's really become, and also there was some camaraderie. There was that Draftnik media.
Right.
We used to have the Mr. Irrelevant pool.
Yep.
Have fun with that.
Yep.
And then you had all these come. They're the first round pick, and then they go home the next day.
Yep.
Like the NFL has made it that if you're not mainstream media, there was really, and I had booked my flight and my plans and everything until the family situation, so I had planned on going. I actually booked my flight for the first time ever, Zenny, to fly out on day 2 in the morning so I can get home at day 2 and do day 2 and day 3 at my home headquarters, because I have absolutely zero value being at the draft on day 2 and day 3.
Yeah, except really, but even with the interviews for day 2 though, because remember how
it's the guys they invited that they thought would be drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
That lasted to the second round. You may get like 3 or 4 interviews.
Like DeShone Kizer, right?
Yeah, DeShone Kizer.
That happened with
Packers
him.
Cornerback was another guy that got drafted, I think, at the, you know.
Yeah.
And we're on 2018, my friends.
Yay. There's something else. Hey, so with all that said, who's going number 1, my man?
Sam Darnold.
You think it's a lock?
I think it's a slam dunk. You know, I think with all the trials and tribulations that Cleveland has had at the quarterback position, and I'll go on record right now and say I think Josh Rosen's the best quarterback.
Okay.
I think that Josh.
By that Texas A&M performance?
No, I've been a Josh Rosen fan for 2 or 3 years now. And, you know, I was saying that he's the best quarterback prospect to come out since Carson Wentz and Andrew Luck for, you know, quite some time. And I have him number 1 on my big board. He's the best player in this year's draft.
Now, where do you fit Lamar Jackson in all this? Because you know what I'm going to say.
Well, so I did my mock draft. I haven't published it yet, but we were talking before we went on the air that Vegas has the odds. I think it's like 5.5 over under on the quarterbacks. And I'm thinking like, no way are 6 quarterbacks going to go in the first round. I think it's happened once in the history of the NFL, 1983. Right. And then I did my mock draft, and I'm like, wow, not only do I have Lamar Jackson, but also Mason Rudolph in the first round. I have 6 quarterbacks going in the first round.
Wow.
And I think, you know, because we're in this era of the NFL where, first of all, there's not enough good quarterbacks. We can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I broke it down like this. There's at least half a dozen teams in the NFL that need a franchise signal caller.
Yeah.
There's another half a dozen teams that are looking for their heir apparent, whether it's Pittsburgh, New England, the Giants, the Chargers, the Saints. There's 40% of the league looking for a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And for those, you know, I don't want to repeat myself because for those who tune in and listen to me, they might have heard me say this on the Jody Mack show. I don't want to be repetitive.
Oh, be repetitive. You want to say it on the Zenny 62 show.
62, I'm hitting millions.
Yeah.
I want to let everybody know that, you know, we're in a where you can't get enough good quarterbacks, and the common denominator, if you look at the playoff teams, is good quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I think that there's too many teams that need quarterbacks. There was a better point that I was getting to, but
hey, I got a question for you because why would John Gruden go out and get Josh Johnson?
Well, Josh Johnson is a veteran guy that's been around the block, and he can hold down the fort. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to be a third-string quarterback, which he probably will be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw him last year with the Giants.
Yep.
At times, you know, I went to quite a few Giants mini camps, quite a few practices. Obviously, saw Josh Jackson or
Josh Johnson.
Lot.
Yeah. Huh? Johnson. Yeah.
He outperformed Geno Smith a lot of the time.
Yeah, he did. He's got wheels. He can run, you know.
There were some beat reporters who thought Josh Johnson would beat out Geno Smith for the backup job. And I think because Geno Smith was a former first-round pick, they kept Geno over Josh.
Mm-hmm.
But there was times where he was straight up outplaying Geno. And listen, I mean, he knows how to run a pro-style offense.
Yep.
He's actually a pretty smart guy if you talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been around the block. And he's learned from some of the best. If you look at the coaches he's played for, I mean, he's played for some really great QB minds, offensive guru minds, and things like that. So
John Gruden's really high on him, but also this guy can run. So I was thinking that, and I asked John Gruden on camera, I said, are you going to install a read option offense with him? And he gave me a sideways answer. But I'm thinking if he's going to go that far and get this guy, what's to stop the Raiders from taking Lamar Jackson at number 10 and shocking the shit out of everybody? Excuse my language. You know?
You know what's interesting is when Gruden had David Carr on, or Derek Carr.
Yeah. I do that sometimes. Yeah, I get you.
When he was interviewing him, he was like, dude, if I ever come back and coach, like, I'm never going to huddle again. And he gave him a fist pump. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because David Carr was running that no huddle up tempo thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, I'd be surprised if Gruden doesn't do an up tempo type of offense. So it'll be interesting.
He said his offense was going to be completely different at the combine. He said that. And then he said that somewhere along the way, he said he wanted a quarterback that would contribute 250 yards, some of it on the ground, per game. Okay? He wanted Carr to do work, to be the CEO, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this. I do not believe Derek Carr can hold up to that kind of pounding over a season. His body is almost China doll area. He's had a fibular problem. He's had fractured this or hurt that. You know, I almost think of him as like that figurine on the operation table in the game where you play operation. That's what he looks like. Okay, so but now back to the order. You've got who the Giants get? Barkley?
Well, so back to my other thought. I'm going.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. We're just yeah. Huh?
What I wanted to say about the quarterbacks, though, is that ever since Sam Bradford, that new CBA went into effect,
right?
And I think if you whiff on a first-round quarterback, it's not that big of a deal. Like the Jets whiffed on Geno Smith, they moved on. It wasn't that big of a deal. Whereas Jamarcus Russell, as you know, that strapped the Raiders franchise for that moved them backwards 5 years because they were on the hook for that salary. And I think Sam Bradford was the last quarterback to get that huge, like $15 million a year payday.
Right.
Now, if you take a quarterback and you whiff in the first round, it's not that big of a deal. So,
So you can basically waste a pick?
Well, it's not wasting a pick. It's just that...
we'll make him a millionaire. Why not?
Well, listen, you talk about Lamar Jackson on the Raiders, right?
Yep.
Because we just said the common denominator of all playoff teams, what do they have in common? Is successful play at the quarterback.
Exactly.
And what we saw, right? And what we saw last year, the second most important position is the backup quarterback.
Yes. Yes.
And Nick Foles held it down, and he was able to step in there. And, I mean, listen, this guy had the most remarkable run I've seen since Jeff Hostetler. Come in and just take that team.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so, hey, listen, quarterbacks are valuable, and because of that, they're going to be selected higher than they should be. But you have to take the risk. You have to roll the dice. If you're the Arizona Cardinals and you signed, I think they signed Sam Bradford and Mike Lennon.
Yeah.
You might have to trade up. If you're the Buffalo Bills and you got 2 first-round picks, you might have to trade up. If you're the New England Patriots and you want a future quarterback, you might have to trade up. It's just the way of the culture, and you could just. I'm a big subscriber in the Bill Walsh philosophy.
Yeah.
Bill Walsh drafted a quarterback every single season, and the story he's had with quarterbacks.
Yep.
When you have excess quarterbacks, you have equity. Whether it's Steve Young, Steve Bono, Elvis Gerbeck, the list goes on and on. I mean, this guy took a quarterback every year.
Remember Jeff Kemp?
Well, Jets, but they just haven't taken the right one. Bryce Petty, Christian Hacker, Geno Smith. Maybe this year they get it right,
Jeez. The Jets.
It all comes back around, Zen Dog. It all comes back around.
Boy, oh boy. I would love to be the GM for the Jets. I'm telling you. Hey, so the Giants.
To answer your question, I think the Giants take Barkley. Yeah.
Okay. So we have the Colts. Did the Colts get Bradley Chubb then?
Well, I think the Colts are at 6 right now, but
that's right. Yeah. Number 3 is
3 is the Jets.
The Jets.
They go.
Yeah.
I think they go Rosen.
Wow.
And then you got 4.
So you don't think that the Jets would turn around and say, "Hey, you know what? We lost Sheldon Richardson, and we need some depth at defensive line. Bradley Chubb is sitting there. Maybe we ought to just plug him."
You got 3 second-round picks and a first-round pick to move up 3 spots. You got to take a quarterback.
Yeah, that's true.
McCagnon and Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
Listen, this is last month the rent is due before your lease is up, buddy. I mean, there's no more time waiting for Christian Hackenberg, waiting for Teddy Bridgewater, which by the way is really a $500,000 deal. He gets another $500,000 if he makes the opening day roster. And if they cut him after that, they're not owing him any money. It's $1 million deal. Now, if he wins the job and he plays well, yeah, he could make $18 million over 2 years. But you don't want to put all your cookies in the Teddy Bridgewater basket.
I do. I do. I think Teddy Bridgewater can be the man.
You gotta have an insurance policy.
Well, fine. Yeah.
Healthy.
So wait,
going back to Louisville.
Right, but
healthy.
So basically, you're saying that he's such a China doll that you don't think he's going to survive.
What I'm saying is that the average NFL team invests about $27 million a year in the quarterback position on average. They got $10 million invested in Josh McCown. They got $1 million invested in Teddy Bridgewater. You better invest in the quarterback position because otherwise, if Bridgewater gets hurt and McCown gets hurt like he did last year, who do you got?
Yeah, I guess what bothers me about the whole dang thing, and maybe you can help me clear my mind, or I doubt it in this instance, is scheme matters. And I have I have the view that all of this hunting around for quarterbacks is a proxy for offensive coordinators who don't know what they're doing. I mean, look at the Jets offensive coordinator last year, right? Or the year before that. Or look at how people were all gaga about Chan Gailey and all this stuff. And, you know, I remember Allo Casal was telling me about Chan Gailey over a decade, almost a couple of decades ago. And I'm saying, okay, well, fine. What makes him a great guy? Well, people like him. Well, come on. All right. My point is that Andy Reid's got it down. Andy Reid had said and observed that the college game is far ahead of the pro game. And if that's the case, and he's doing things that most other teams in the NFL are not doing, what does that tell you? It means that most of the coaches in the NFL don't even have a clue how to work with the college talent that's coming out. You know? They're just lost.
I don't want to cut you off, but this is where egos become involved.
You got it.
I'm a 4-3 guy. We play 4-3 defense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pro-style guy. We play pro-style offense. And so, like, what I've learned over time, and I learned this a long time ago, is the best coaches adjust their game plan accordingly to their personnel.
Yeah.
But there's too many coaches that try to make the player adjust to their system.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole because it's like, this is our system. You must fit our system. We do not go outside the lines.
Right.
You're exactly right. Guys like Andy Reid get it. Doug Peterson, a protege of Andy Reid, he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
The guys in Tennessee, they get it. They built an offense around Marcus Mariota with a moving pocket. Mm-hmm. They allow him to improvise. Now, you want to say it also risks him to greater risk of injury? Mm-hmm. Sure. But, when you take when you put Mike Vick in the pocket and say, hey, you have to be a pocket passing quarterback, we saw how that went. Right. Mike Vick needs to improvise. He needs to be on the move. Mm-hmm. That's how Marcus Mariota is. That's how Baker Mayfield is. So if Baker Mayfield gets with the right coach, like a Sean Payton, Arizona has a great history working with quarterbacks.
Yep.
They understand, like, hey, Baker Mayfield is a guy that is a moving pocket type of quarterback, like Marcus Mariota. You got to build the offense around him. Houston, Bill O'Brien did the same thing.
That was a brilliant job. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And they had Tom Savage as their week 1 quarterback. And then they completely restructured the offense to fit Deshaun Watson. And that's, say what you want about the Texans' record, but that's a good head coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Outstanding. I mean, completely outstanding. And hey, Eric Young was joining us. How you doing, Eric? If you have a question for Rick Serritella, post it. I am.
Baby, we're on adrenaline.
That's right. Hey, definitely. And I'm gonna go and just click and say, "Hey, Eric, how you doing, Eric?" See what's happening. And we've got.
Yeah, we take any questions. Bring them on, baby.
You got it. And I'm gonna continue on with the conversation with Rick and ask. Okay, so we talked about number 3, the Jets. Now we're back. We are completely back to the focus on
Cleveland.
That's right. So what do they do with the 4th pick, you think?
There's your man, Bradley Chubb.
Aha.
So, right, what's after? We already established the 2 most important positions is quarterback and backup quarterback. Then after that, the next most valuable position is getting after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So now you take your whether it's Darnold or Josh Allen, whoever they like, you take your top quarterback off the board. Now you add your top pass rusher at number 4. Mm-hmm. You got 2 blue chip franchise type players. Hey, John Dorsey's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now. And here's the interesting thing. We talked about Chubb possibly at number 2, right?
Yeah.
They did go Chubb. They're changing from 4-3 to 3-4. Part of the reason why they got rid of JPP, along with his attitude, which I will not miss.
Hey, but he throws a great party, man. He knows Kate, Kate, the supermodel Kate, whose party I went to in 2011. Kate. Boy, that's so bad.
Go back to the Zenny 62 archives.
Oh my Lord! You know, I'm gonna put that up there too on my my archives. But Kate, not Kate Hudson. Kate married to Justin Verlander now.
Right. I know. The one that does the.
Right.
I got you.
Yeah.
I know what
Kate.
you're talking about. Yeah. I see the picture. I just don't.
Hey, who looked at me at a party as if she was going to devour me? I thought it was fantastic.
Whoa. Hey.
Yeah. I thought she's looking at me. Kate.
Hey, I could go a lot of different directions with that, but I'll stick on par with.
But
I'll stay the course.
Oh my God.
Hey,
oh gosh.
Let's get it together. Whoop.
We got it. No problem.
The thing is, you can argue, right? Vernon Oliver is questionable in the 34 scheme, right? Outside line. He's about 270. 6'3", 6'4". You would say he's borderline questionable for a 3-4 scheme. I'm pulling up Chubb. He's 6'4", 269.
Yeah.
Do you really want those two guys anchoring a 34 defense? Maybe it's a great thing. I don't know. I just never seen two 270-pound outside linebackers in a 3-4 scheme like that. And if you draft Bradley Chubb, that's what you got. And again, you know,
unless they're going with a hybrid scheme, right? You know, there's this tradition now.
Dan Fetcher's a traditional 34 defensive guy now. Whether he's an ego guy or whether he's going to be one of those coaches that adjusts to the personnel, I know he has traditionally played 34.
But is it 34 Oklahoma or just 34 in terms of ratio?
No, right? I mean, he said there'll be some hybrid, but the base is going to be 34.
Mm-hmm.
So
with a nose tackle.
Yes.
In other words, it's Oklahoma. I get you. Okay, I get you. So Eric Young, we're talking about right now the Cleveland Browns, and they have the 4th pick. We've already went through picks 1, 2, and 3, and we've got. I got a break at about 8:10, so we are. We're not going to go through all the picks, just the highlights, just like the first, I think, 10 or something like that, just like, but that's where we were at. So we got the Browns dispatched, and we're at number 5 now. And so what say you? That's the Colts, right?
No, 5 is Denver.
5 is Denver. I'm sorry. 6 is the Colts. Yeah. So the Broncos are the Broncos going to make Baker Mayfield at that point, you think?
I don't think Baker Mayfield is a John Elway kind of guy.
Ooh.
And I don't know which teams he had his agent call
to
request those first-class tickets.
Wait, whoa. Tell us a story here. Tell us something we don't know.
So Baker Mayfield had his agent call NFL teams that wanted to bring him in for private visits and workouts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but he had his agent call the team and say, well, you want to bring in Baker for a visit, you're going to have to upgrade him to first class.
What? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like Jimmy Clausen. Hey, you know what that sounds like? It sounds like Jimmy Clausen requesting a limousine. Remember that?
Let's pump the brakes.
Jeez.
I mean, so to me, that's not a John Elway guy.
No.
And all the other stuff.
So wait. So hey. So okay. So having said that, and you and I both know how the league is. How far does he fall?
Listen, Zenny, I put him number 32 on my big board just out of the respect that I do think he'll go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
But out of the 32 picks in the first round, he would be the last guy I select. He is my pick for the biggest bust. Baker, if you're watching, get it together, baby.
Yeah. So you got to admit, Lamar Jackson looks a lot better.
I have Lamar ranked higher, I think. So.
Where do you have him going by the chance?
I had him going if things stay the same. So Pick 5, Denver right there. They could take Denzel Ward to replace Aqib Talib.
That would be good.
I heard that.
Yeah.
But if you do trade down, Buffalo has 12 and 22. Buffalo could trade up for somebody. If Buffalo stays where they're at, I could see them taking Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Hey, riddle me this: what do you see the Patriots taking their picks and moving up, given all this buzz that they're interested in Lamar Jackson?
I heard there's legit interest in Lamar Jackson. But again, once April 1st rolls around, April Fool's Day, I got to put the earmuffs on. You know, I got to get through April like this. But what I predict the Patriots will do, I predict that Bill Belichick doesn't like to be crossed, right? Mm-hmm. He traded Garoppolo to Shanahan in spite of the owner because he said, I'm going to show you. I'm going to trade him to the NFC. I'm going to trade him to a guy where he'll succeed and thrive. And I'll say, hey, you know what? I told you so. And he's going to do – Bill Belichick is going to draft Dallas Goedert, the tight end from South Dakota State, and send a clear message to Rob Gronkowski. Hey, you know what? We don't really need you. And he might even dangle him for a trade.
Wow. How did we get to a point where Gronkowski is suddenly like out like that? What happened?
So apparently, you know, TB12, not to get too far into it, Tom Brady has his own personal trainer, Guerrero or whatever it is. Belichick banned him from the team. So other players were going to this TB12 facility located down the street from the Patriots facility, which is kind of like a slap in the face to the Patriots trainer, right? Because everybody's going to this third party to get treated. So, and that's how Garoppolo found his way out. Like Garoppolo actually made an appointment to TB12, and when he showed up, nobody answered the door, all the lights were closed, and they wouldn't let him in.
Jeez.
So like Brady didn't want to help Garoppolo, but you know, Gronkowski, obviously one of Brady's guys, was going to this TB12 facility. Belichick, banning Guerrero from the team. He previously was allowed to travel with the team, no longer allowed to travel with the team, no longer allowed inside the locker room. So he had to open this third-party facility where all these Patriots players were going, and Belichick was getting pissed. So he chose to use Rob Gronkowski as an example and chew out the Gronk in front of the team for using this third-party Guerrero. And he used Gronkowski to send that message like, nobody's bigger than the team. Let's pick on the biggest stud there is, right? It's Tom Brady's guy, so obviously, you know, he can't make an example of Tom, but let me make an example of Gronk. Well, Gronk don't appreciate it. Right. And Gronk's body, as you know, coming out of Arizona, he didn't have a good back and body and knees to begin with.
Right.
He's doing all this wear and tear. You know, they see him at the dirt bike event the other day. He's like, hey, you reporting to voluntary camp? He's like, no, I got dirt bikes to ride. You know? You know, I don't think that's sitting too well with Billy Belichick over there.
Is it a case of the Patriots getting to a point where they've had this particular group of Patriots have had so much success that maybe they're complacent?
Egos.
Yeah.
Just like any other big business, right?
Yeah.
You get a successful TV show, it happens organically, they never thought nothing of it, it becomes this big smash hit, then all of a sudden the suits get involved.
Wow.
And what happens? Egos get involved, we should do this, we should do that. Well, you got these mega egos now. Brady, Belichick, Gronk. I mean, these are like...
Hey, don't forget Brady's wife.
Gisele's in the mix, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you want him to catch the damn ball too? I mean, like, hey, I mean, these are like some power play egos involved. And I think what happens is that you win enough championships, you make enough money. I don't want to say they're complacent by any means, but it's just human tendency. You don't have that same hunger, that same drive. And, you know, maybe they're now putting their personal aspirations or their personal agendas ahead of the team agenda, where before, you know, I was Tom Brady, the 6th round pick, just buying into the team.
Yeah.
Well, hey, now I'm Tom Brady with 5 Super Bowl rings. We're gonna do it my way, man.
All right,
and
so
we're gonna drive it all night long.
so the Broncos get.
Well, if the Broncos stay pat, I hate to say it, but I mean, Josh Allen falls right into their laps.
Wow.
Another big quarterback.
Wow. Interesting. As Patrick and Blackman says, Belichick made Brady. Hey, so we've got the Colts.
Well, I'll speed through pick 6 for you because from what I heard, Roquan Smith from Georgia, the linebacker, will not get past number 6 if the Colts stay there. So that's one you could put it in the books.
Wow. Hey, how do you assess Frank Reich and his future with the Colts? I'm actually quite excited, given what he did with the Eagles and his temperament. I had pleasure meeting him at the Combine. I think you've met him too. You probably know him better than I do. What do you think?
Well, I think that the whole Josh McDaniels situation is like the best thing that ever happened to the Colts franchise. No, really, because Frank Reich's a much better coach.
Yeah.
And I travel every year. I hit about 6 or 7 training camps around the league, mostly in the Northeast. But when I went to Eagles camp, completely different tone than anybody else. And these guys just hit more. They hit harder. The tempo and the pace is just more crisp. And I saw this in training camp. And Frank Reich and the running back coach, Deuce Staley.
Yes. Oh, wow.
He's going to be another head coach.
Whoa. Look out. Whoa.
Yeah.
Huh.
And these guys are leading the charge. And what Doug Peterson did, the reason why they're world champions is because Doug Peterson realized what his weaknesses are and hired people that were smarter than him in areas where he wasn't so smart.
That's the way you do it, That really is the way you do it.
I think Frank Reich is just the first, Johnny Morton. I think he went from the quarterback coach to the offensive coordinator now for the Jets. You're going to see the Doug Peterson tree. I mean, I hate to say it, it's just true.
Wow.
And I was really skeptical. I'll be the first to admit, I was skeptical of the Doug Peterson hire. And then when I went to the training camp and I saw him in action, and I saw him lay into people for not going all out and not cracking pads, I had a whole newfound respect.
Is he a yeller?
He's not a yeller. He's just the way he delivers the message. Like, you better get going here. This ain't tea time. This ain't, playing in the same box.
Although he does have ice cream breaks, I've heard. He likes the ice cream breaks from what.
Oh, I mean, hey,
you gotta have something. All right. Okay,
so I had snacks. Doug Peterson has ice creams.
So we got number 7. Number 7 in the NFL draft is it's not the Ravens. Who is that?
Yeah, well, now you're asking complicated questions. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me offhand. Let
me get it for you. Hold on a second.
It's fine.
I've got it. NFL draft order. NFL.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa. Yeah. Thank you. How could I miss that? Tampa Bay. Yeah. So what do you think about
at this point? I mean, yeah, at this point, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm going like best player available, like Minkah Fitzpatrick, arguably a top 5 player in the draft, but because the quarterbacks are going to be selected, I mean, I think he's a real value. I mean, although he played 20% of his snaps in the box, another 20% of his. Or I'm sorry, 40% of his snaps were in the slot. Another 30% were in the box. And I think he only played like 13 snaps as an outside boundary cornerback. Ironically, that's the position I like him best. But in Tampa Bay, he'd probably play safety, but safety, corner, Minka Fitzpatrick. I mean, he's played 6 or 7 different positions for Alabama. At that point, number 7, I mean, I'm doing cartwheels up to the podium to turn in that card.
I like that, cartwheels at the podium. Hey, so we've got Minka Fitzpatrick to the Bucks. Although, and then we've got, I'm just scrolling through here, number 8. Excuse me, that is number 7. And then number, I'm going through the
yeah, 8 would be Chicago.
That's
and then
right.
You got to go Quentin Nelson there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people think he's the best player in the draft. If you get him at number 8, you know, as much as you hate to take a guard inside the top 10, I think it's been done twice in the last decade or so. But at that point, you know, the Bears need O-line help. Quentin Nelson, arguably the best player in this year's draft.
Mm-hmm.
Got to pull the trigger, right?
Yep, that's right. Then we've got, I'm going back to see if we've got any comments. Patrick and Blackman is saying that Belichick made Brady. He's calling for Darwin James for Tampa Bay. Eric Young says Lamar Jackson to eventually replace Tom Brady. Very interesting. And we go back to Mr. Serritella here. And, okay, we've got the San Francisco 49ers and then the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, so San Francisco, I think, is a wild card. I mean, for both of these teams, the dark horse candidate that you're hearing is Mike McGlinchey from Notre Dame.
Yeah, that keeps coming up, but why not Darius Geis out of LSU at that point? Because the 49ers lack a breakaway back. You know, these guys are getting long in the tooth. They've got carrying the ball for them for the most part, the ones that have been productive.
They do have a guy like Matt Breida that I do like there, but probably not a feature back, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
However, do I want to take Darius Geis at 10 when I can have, I don't know, Ronald Jones, Sony Michel, Rashad Penny, Nick Chubb.
In the second round.
I mean, you know, at that point, it's hard for me to justify taking a running back in the first round to begin with.
Really?
But when I have guys that are, you know, listen, I'm not going to argue. Geis is better than all the guys I mentioned.
Sure.
But when you look at it long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I fast forward the next 5 years or the next 10 years, are we really going to be that worse off with one of those other guys?
Wow, that's a great point because the Vikings took the running back from Florida State early, right? And he played, 6 games, and then that was it.
And last time I checked, Adrian Peterson didn't carry nobody to the Super Bowl.
No, he didn't. Well, you know what? He didn't, but I felt...
And I'll give you my anti-Saquon Barkley choice at number 2.
All right.
Because for me, a lot of people will say Adrian Peterson. I have no shame to my game. I will proudly admit, along with a million other draft nicks, that Reggie Bush was the highest rated running back I ever had coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, did he have highlights? Did he have moments?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Oh, by the dozens.
Did he ever live up to the expectations?
No, not at all. But, you know, Bush, to me, and similarly Barkley, are both excellent targets out of the backfield to catch passes, but you got to throw it to them. And the problem, talking about Adrian Peterson, if I were faced with the decision of taking Adrian Peterson, I would say I would do it, but he's got to catch for me. He's got to catch at least, I would say 1/3 of his touches have to be catches out of the backfield because he's got that ability to run over the defender with his size and speed, even at that age. And it hasn't been tested, you know? But all that aside, my point is that didn't happen. He hasn't delivered. You're absolutely right. But when you have, the other point that I'm making is that when you have ball carriers that can make the catches out of the backfield, and yet they're already used to running over defenders because they're runners, you take them in the first round, and then you design the scheme to get them the ball, because we always talk about run after the catch, right? We always talk about yak, right? So why does it apply to a receiver who should be physically enough to get you those yards after they catch, but you're not going to do it with a running back? You know what I mean?
Well, and yeah, I mean a lot of the check downs and short passing game is predicated around that. So yeah, it just makes sense. And I think, hey, David Johnson, right at Arizona,
Absolutely.
he's kind of the Falcons. You look at their running backs, what they do, dual threat, catching and running the ball. So
hey, so what do you think the Raiders are going to do in that context?
Yeah, so the Raiders, wow.
The Raiders.
Well, I'm looking at my board. You know, for me, I'm higher on this guy than a lot of others, but Rashaan Evans from Alabama.
Yeah. Tell us about him.
Well, you know, he's being devalued a little bit just because he has had some injuries in the past. Wasn't 100% in 2017, so his 2017 film probably not his best. But when I take a look at his upside, this guy is the most instinctual linebacker, in my opinion. He can play any linebacker position. And when you combine him with the Khalil Mack, oh my God, I just think that's like a whole nother dimension for the Raiders defense. But, you know, I think Roquan Smith will be off the board at that point. And a lot of people want to talk about Tremaine Edmonds. And I'm even hearing now his brother Terrell Edmonds may go in the first round, which is insane to me. But
and you said Roquan Smith is going to the Colts, right?
Correct.
Gotcha.
If they stay there. If they stay,
yeah.
But Tremaine Edmonds, like, yeah, he's 6'4", 250 and runs like the wind, but is he a purebred football player? Like Rashaan Evans? I don't know. Rashaan Evans, to me, that guy, you watch him on film, every play he's around the ball. Edmonds, I love the measurables and all, but then I watch the film and I'm just like, well, I want to see a little more.
Yeah.
So
you're not high on Vita Vea going to the Raiders at that point?
It's definitely a possibility. Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. If he doesn't go to the Raiders, I think the Dolphins take him. And you know, Vita Vea, is he a 3-down player? I don't know, but you know, he's going to be a heck of a 2-down player.
Yeah,
and
definitely a heck of absolutely.
He will definitely open up some pass rush lanes on that defense. So it suits the need, and he's definitely a possibility. And you know, Taven Bryan, if Vita Vea comes off the board before Oakland, then even Taven Bryan from Florida, I mean, he could be a guy that fits there. But you know, I think for the most part, for me, Rashaan Evans is like the ideal fit. Just looking at my board here.
There you go. Hey, so it is 8:05, somewhere in there, and I know you got to get back to baby duty.
Yeah, she's crying. I hear her crying, but you're gonna make me walk the plank, Zenny, and change some diapers?
I can't. Hey, it's all right, man. It's a great plank to walk. You know, better than the other plank that you're gonna get if you don't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's a blessing, man.
One more question. Where are we gonna go with it?
Say again?
I know we have time for one more question.
Oh, okay, I have one. Where do you think? All right.
This is too much fun. I'm sorry.
No, it is a lot of fun. I'm going to reach down and ask you, Baltimore Ravens. Who do you like for the Ravens? And I ask because we have our mock draft later tonight, our live. We got now seven participants at 10:30 Eastern. So I'm really excited, including Bill Carroll. Remember Bill Carroll?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Bill's going to join us.
He's an OG, NFL draft OG.
Yep, and I've given him the honor of having. I've given him the honor of calling the first pick. So I'm really quite excited. And then my friend Melissa Rubin's a big Ravens fan, so this is for her. Who should she consider for the Ravens?
Well, they made a multi-year offer to Des Bryant. Des Bryant turned it down, so they turned around and signed Willie Snead. So wide receivers out of the mix. I'm going to say cornerback, and I'm going to say either, Joshua Jackson from Iowa, who's just a complete playmaker. Didn't have a great combine, so some people got turned off by that. But remember when they undervalued Desmond King last year? He went in the second round and outperformed his draft slot. So I would say Joshua Jackson from Iowa or Jerry Alexander from Louisville is a stud. And it just depends. Jackson's probably the taller, lankier corner, and Alexander's a guy, could play outside, could play slot, depending on what you're looking for, faster guy. But yeah, I would think the Ravens have needed secondary help, especially at cornerback, for so long. Like, let's get the fire extinguisher and put out some fires here.
Yeah, definitely. All right, my man. NFLDraftBible.com. Where are you going to be tomorrow? At home?
So the first draft in 17 years that I won't be at the draft. Everything is kind of up in the air, but we'll have one thing I know we'll have is balls to the wall coverage.
There you go. Yeah.
So
are you gonna watch the television? So I'm thinking of doing a live stream from the television. Maybe you could chime in.
Well, yeah, I definitely hop in. I think what I might do, and again, I'm gonna play it by ear, because like when the picks get made, I like to blast out our scouting reports and our player interviews with all these guys and stuff that we have on file. But whether we do it day 1, day 2, day 3, or all 3 days, I'm going to do some live hits on the Facebook and Periscope and Twitter and just do some instant analysis, instant impact type of thing. And really what I want to do is, because last year I spent day 3 watching the draft in my hotel room.
I remember that.
And I was so frustrated by the coverage, because all they do is talk about quarterbacks and first-round picks. And it's like, these guys on day 3 are going on to start in the league, make Pro Bowls, and are talented players, and they deserve their platform.
Right.
And I don't think there's a media outlet there that covers the picks on day 3. Like, they'll make picks, and they'll make mention of it, and then move on to they'll go back to the first round picks and talk about that for 20 more minutes. So especially day 3, I really want to spend some time talking about the value, the scouting analysis, the impact that these day 3 guys can make, because quite honestly, that's where I really enjoy the draft evaluation process.
Yeah.
You can't tell me the top 100. Man, get the funk out my face. Anybody can do that. We got the top 600 big board.
That's posted, right. Yep.
And man, I'll tell you what, there's nobody that puts out a big board like we do, and the way we do projections. And man, we're I don't care about who's the most accurate first round mock. We do 7-round projections, and then undrafted free agents. However many draft grades. If there's 36 third-round picks, there's only 36 players with third-round grades on our board. And we do that for every round. And I'll tell you what, there's nobody that even comes close to it. RIC at NFLDraftBible.com. I'll email anybody a direct link. We got it up on the website at our NFL Draft headquarters link. I haven't created a separate individual link to hype it up. It's been a can't stop, won't stop situation with the new baby, the new move-in, and all kinds of things.
You got your hands
on.
full, man. Yeah.
I haven't been able to promote it as much as I wanted to. We also did a cool QB exam with Steve Fairchild, who's coach. He was head coach at Colorado State. He's also been an offensive coordinator for the Rams and the Bills, and he's been in football for 33 years. He was down at the Spring League coaching Johnny Manziel, and he did 2,000-word analysis on his top 6 quarterbacks.
Wow.
And we put that up on the website, which is really eye-opening. It was eye-opening for me. As you know, one of the most valuable parts of the draft process is listening to people who know more than you.
Yeah.
And, he really opened up my eyes on some of these quarterback prospects for sure.
Huh. Hey, so I want to call you tomorrow. I got to get down and take care of some things, but I'm gonna use my YouTube live stream desktop, and then I can use this phone to call folks. So I'm gonna call you that way.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
You got it, man. All right, man.
Zen dog, love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
We'll
Best to the missus. Tell her find me a wife.
Hey man, just come to Jersey, man.
I know.
Hey,
I got leave.
Summertime is right around the corner. We're just heating up over here.
I love it. I'll talk to you soon, man. Woohoo! I'll see you, man.
All right, Zen.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll be back at 10. We'll be back at 10:30 Eastern. I'll see you. Okay.
Can't stop, won't stop.
That's right. I'll see you.